Hello, hello. Today is going to be a little bit of a different video. I'm going to take you through some recipe testing. Normally I film this very casually on my Instagram and Facebook stories, just popping in throughout testing to share kind of where we're at. But I thought it would be fun to actually document like a full round of testing so you can see what goes into it, how I am like taking notes, how I'm making adjustments to get to hopefully what will be the perfect recipe. So we're working on sourdough gingerbread, like an artisan loaf. I'm trying to make a fluffy, delicious loaf of like artisan shaped sourdough bread, but with all of those gingerbread flavors inside for like a cozy, warm holiday treat. And we discovered in the last round of testing, which was round 3, that like a warm honey cinnamon butter spread on top, oh my gosh, so good. So I feel like we're almost there. This last test I'm hoping will show us which route is better. These are my recipe testing notes. It's a little extreme. Right now is round 4. Oops, sorry. Right now is round 4 of testing. It's technically like 4 and 5 because I'm gonna do 2 loaves. But here's the dilemma. Ginger is a naturally antimicrobial ingredient. So when we add it to something with sourdough, where sourdough is full of microbes, they kind of fight. And so during bulk fermentation, weird things can happen to the dough. Same thing happens with garlic, cinnamon. There's gotta be other antimicrobial ingredients, but you get the idea. So fresh ginger just seems like problematic, not the way to go. So here's what I'm trying to figure out today. Last night, I made this ginger simple syrup. It's just brown sugar, water, and sliced fresh ginger, and I boiled it on high heat for about 3 minutes, and it's just kind of been steeping overnight. I did this in my last test, but I did it the morning of, and I also added a little bit of dried ginger to the dough, and I feel like we don't need both. I feel like it should be one or the other, and if it's dried ginger, great, because that's easier to just put in your dough and get started. But maybe the syrup is what was bringing like the delicious flavor in that loaf, so I need to separate them and do a side-by-side. One with our ginger syrup, and then another one just with dry ginger, and we'll see which way. I'm kind of hoping, I don't know. I hope that the dry ginger wins because it's easier, but also like this is so unique, like a ginger simple syrup. I don't know, maybe it's bringing something special and I just didn't realize that this is the ticket, so we're gonna find out. So my starters are not quite ready yet. I fed them last night, but it's actually chilly here in Florida for like the first time. Oh, we already took one out. Here's what they're looking like. I know they're not ready because do you see it's still domed? Actually, no, I forgot. I did a stiffer feeding, so domed is actually, maybe they're ready. Oh my gosh, I just had a lapse. So typically when you feed a liquid starter, equal parts flour and water, when it's at peak, it will flatten out on top. When it's domed, it's still rising. But with a stiffer starter, when you do less water than flour and the mixture is just like thicker, it will actually still be a little bit domed in shape when it's at peak. And if it's a very stiff starter, like you did a lot, like half as much water as flour, it will be pretty domed. Like it'll look very domed. Anyway, I'm talking too much. So the point is actually, looking at this, I think it is ready to use. The bubbles on top have kind of like a grayish translucent quality to them, which tells me this is very aerated. It's actually looking good. There's bubbles all over it. It looks like it has about tripled in size since last night, and it smells sweet and yeasty, which is exactly what we want. We want a sweet and yeasty smell. Everyone's starters are different, so you might pick up other scents like earthy, musky, sometimes green apple. All of that's super cool. All starters are unique, but definitely what we're not looking for is like a raw flour smell. That means that the microbes in here haven't worked through that flour yet, and so it's not risen all the way. The other thing we don't want is any acidic, like vinegar, acetone, nail polish remover, any sharp smells. That's a sign of an overly acidic starter, and that's gonna carry over into your dough and really make things difficult. You might still end up with an okay loaf, but it will probably be gummy and flat, and the dough will be super sticky the entire time that you're working with it, which is very frustrating. So if it's that way, I would discard most of it and start over and work on strengthening your starter, because a good starter can really, it gives you more margin for error. You can screw other things up, but if your starter was healthy, it might still turn out just fine. Okay, I just talk too much, don't I? All right, anyway, I think these actually are ready, which is fantastic. So something different I'm doing in this test is instead of feeding sugar, because I'm doing a stiff, like a somewhat stiff sweet starter, the sweetness is gonna cut back on any tangy flavors in the final loaf. I did brown sugar because we love a theme. There's brown sugar and molasses in the dough, so why not do brown sugar in our starter, which I've never done before. But I just feel like if we're doing a sweetener, let's keep the theme going. If there's brown sugar in the dough, let's use that in our starter. So we'll see. I don't know if that's actually gonna make a big difference or not, but we will find out. Okay, so for this loaf, I'm looking at my notes here, and the last time that I tried it with the ginger syrup, no, go back. How do you, no, go back.
A few moments later.
All right, so the last test I did when I made the ginger syrup, it ended up making about 40 grams, and I wanna make sure that my liquid stays the same so that my hydration is the same, because the texture and consistency of the loaf in the last round was perfect. So I wanna hang on to that part. So I'm gonna strain this first. It's been just sitting on the counter all night, so it's nice and cooled down. Let's see how much we got. Okay, so it's about 35 grams. Last time it was 40 grams. I'm not worried about 6 grams necessarily. So we're gonna stick with that. Okay, so I always am taking notes while I'm recipe testing, so I'm just gonna put in here that the ginger syrup made 34 grams. Okay. All right, so we've got that. Now I'm gonna add the water, 270 grams of water. Oh my gosh, 5 grams short. It's always a good feeling when you almost like pre-measure things perfectly. Okay. 50 grams of molasses. I'm all over the place today. Sorry, should have been more prepared. And we need our starter. Now, where did I put it? Right there. My gosh. Okay. 50 grams of molasses. All of our stiff sweet starter. Can you even see what I'm doing? All of our stiff sweet starter. All right, last time I did an additional 25 grams of brown sugar, and that was perfect. So I'm gonna stick with that. Like, the sweetness on the last test loaf was awesome. My mom came and watched my kids for me for a couple days while my husband and I traveled to Boston for a conference. And my last test loaf of gingerbread was here, and she tried it and thought it was awesome. So it's always great to get like additional feedback and make sure that what you're doing is good. At least you're on the right track. All right, here's my big old flour bin. Yeah, it's big boy. This is Central Milling High Mountain flour, which is 13.5% protein. It is my favorite bread flour that I've tried to date. But like any decent quality bread flour is fine. Like King Arthur, Ballerina Farms, Bob's Red Mill. Oh, I've tried so many, but yeah. I don't want you to think you have to buy this specific flour to get great results, because you don't. Almost there, 490 grams of flour, which I started out, I feel like that's one of the things, like why 490, why not 500? And the thing is, I started out with 500 grams of flour, but then I tweaked the ratios on my starter because I wanted it to ferment faster. So I subtracted the amount of flour that I added to my starter from the dough so that the dough weight stays the same. So that's one of those little things, like that's why it's 490 grams instead of 500, because recipe testing required me to make a couple of changes. All right, I need pumpkin pie spice. So I make my own pumpkin pie spice blend, but I also got a sample, if I can find it, from Burlap and Barrel, and it is so good. So I'm just using that one right now, but I do have a recipe on my blog for how to make pumpkin pie spice. This one is toasted pepita, and it just does something. It's so good. Toasted pepita pumpkin spice. Maybe it's that toasty thing. Okay, so I'm doing a tablespoon of this. It's about, well, last time I wrote 5 grams, this time it was 6 grams, but same difference really. I'm gonna skip the ginger in this test loaf. And all we need now is 10 grams of salt. So 10 grams of salt. All right, let me just go back through and make sure I didn't forget anything. We got the water, we got our starter, molasses, the strained ginger syrup, brown sugar, bread flour, salt, pumpkin pie spice. That's it. Okay, so I'm gonna mix this in a stand mixer. You could do it by hand, but especially when I'm recipe testing multiple things, I really need things to be sped up, and I don't wanna be constantly washing my hands between, because then my hands get dry and it hurts. So yeah, you definitely don't need a stand mixer, but it's just helpful for recipe testing. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. Here, and I can show you too what it looks like. All right, so I just used the Uni stand mixer to mix this dough together until it's all incorporated and there's no dry flour bits or ingredients that didn't get mixed in. I didn't mix it for an extended time, literally just like 3 or 4 minutes until all the ingredients are together. So this is what it looks like. Sorry, the lighting's not great in here. I don't know how to do lighting. I'm working on it. It's just not my strong suit. Okay, I'm gonna use a bowl scraper to get it out of there, and then we're gonna move on to the second loaf where everything is the same, except instead of the ginger syrup that I strained, I'm gonna use just a regular old dried ginger. Better label these or I will forget. I can also use different bowl covers and tell you what's what so that I can go back to the footage and remember. We'll do the Christmassy one, this one, on the ginger syrup loaf. And this is the consistency, the texture. It's like, it's so dreamy. It's not too sticky. I love it. I love this dough. Bringing it together into more of a ball because that makes me happy. Okay, we'll move on to the second one. We need 270 grams of water. Anyway, I won't walk you through the whole thing. We can speed this up, but everything's the same except this one gets dried ginger. Let's do 1.5 teaspoons. Okay. All the ingredients are finally combined, and I'm realizing now that the syrup added additional hydration to that loaf that it did not to this one. And I'm feeling like this is too stiff. I think I need to fix that now before we get too far into it. So if the syrup was 34 grams, I'm gonna add 20 more grams of water. Let that mix in. I don't know why that didn't even occur to me at the beginning. Who knows? All right. Get this out. Okay. So the dried ginger is the orange bowl cover. Don't let me forget. All right, these are going to relax now for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then I'll come back and start doing dough strengthening. Stretch and folds or coil folds, just depending on how slack the dough is. We'll cross that bridge when we get there though. I'm pretty excited. Okay, so I have my 2 loaves here. I am just gonna do a basic set of stretch and folds on both. It's been about 45 minutes to an hour since I mixed these, and look at how strong the dough already is. This is a much different experience than prior tests where I did the fresh ginger. The dough is not strong like this at this stage, so I'm loving that this combination of ingredients is giving the dough structure, and it's not just a big loose puddle that doesn't seem to hold its shape. So that is good. It's a little stiffer than I remember. I wonder if, I don't know, maybe it's perfect. I wet my hands before I do stretch and folds because it helps the dough not stick to my hands. I'm liking this dough better. Which dough is this one? The Christmas one? This is the syrup, isn't it? This dough feels more extensible to me. All right, we'll let these rest for another half an hour and we'll come back and do that again. Round 2. Guess who is back? Back again. Round 3. It's a pretty stiff dough. So I'm just continuing stretch and folds instead of coil folds, because if I tried to coil fold this, I don't feel like it would drape back down because it's just so stiff. But the bonus is it's really easy to work with. Higher hydration doughs I find really challenging. Sorry I don't have my audio stuff on. I am a hot mess. Hot mess. Okay. I think this is gonna be my last round because this dough just doesn't seem to need any more strength. It's holding its shape really well. It's got a nice window pane. I think it just wants to be left alone. So I'm gonna let this finish the bulk fermentation. I might move it to my proofing box just to make sure I can shape this before I have to leave to get my kids from school. It's 11:40 right now, and I have to leave my house at 4 o'clock. So just to make sure it's done, I'm gonna go put it in like a 78-degree Fahrenheit environment. And hopefully this will be done in the next few hours, because right now it is not even close. Okay. Stick it in my proofer. Okay, so it's 3:50. I have to go get my kids from school, and while these have risen and like it's looking good, I don't think we're there. Let me get better lighting over here, but like, yes, it's bubbly, but I want more. When I tap the surface, like it is pillowy right now, but like I need more from it. So I'm gonna need a couple, I don't know, maybe a couple more hours is being too generous, but I think I'll be fine to go get my kids from school and then come back. And I don't think this will be overproofed or anything. I think we're doing good, but yeah, they need more time. So I'm gonna keep it back in the proofing box, make sure I don't get the top switched, because that's how I tell which is which. And I will give you an update in a bit, in a couple hours. Okay, that proofing took a lot longer than I thought. It is 6:30 p.m. and I think we're finally ready. Okay, so this one is the ginger syrup, and this one is the dried ginger. Both of them are super jiggly. Can you see the jiggle? Very pillowy. This is what I was waiting for, this like jiggly, pillowy situation. And obviously it's risen almost to the top of these containers. So we're ready, and I don't want to forget what's what. So my kids are home, so I'm gonna skip the pre-shaping and just do final shaping just right now. And I'm gonna try out these new, well, not try them out. I've been testing them out, but these are the new Broad & Taylor Bannetons. I have only had the oval ones, not the round shape, but these are awesome. They are made from like sugar cane, I think. Sugar cane and like a bamboo mixture. They're sustainable and they're really, really good. I was fortunate enough that Broad & Taylor sent me some to try while they were doing like beta testing on the product, and they wanted everyone's feedback, and I love them, and it seems like everybody else does too. They're just great. So let me get rice flour. So I will dust these with rice flour to help them be non-stick. But first things first, let's get to shaping. Do I need No, I don't think I need flour. It's not super sticky. I'm gonna give it a little bit of help to release from the bowl. Just pushing up at the dough on the sides. Gosh, maybe I should do this one at the same time. It's taking a while. I need elevator music right here. I'm gonna flip this upside down. I think I do need a little dusting of flour. Just like the lightest little kiss. Much better. Okay. So I'm skipping the final shaping, so I'm just kind of doing a pre-shaping motion to get it into a round ball. And I'm just gonna flip it upside down and put it right in the banneton. No fancy shaping here. This, I will let it settle for like 10 minutes and then I'll come back and just pinch together the seams. But I like to let it settle first because then it'll be a lot easier. Trying not to pull those gluten strands too much, but the dry ginger, just like right now, is looking a little better to me because there's not a whole bunch of gluten strands. Well, I guess there are once I flip it over. Can you see them? The little strand looking things. But this feels fluffier. This feels more pillowy. And my husband smelled both of them and he thought this one smelled more gingery. So maybe the dry ginger will be the way to go. Okay, these bubbles are huge. Okay, flipping it upside down. See how much more jiggly and fluffy this one is? Wow. Okay, I know these look crazy, but I'm gonna let them settle. So I'll be back in like 5 minutes to finish the little shaping before I put them in the fridge, okay? Okay, ginger syrup, dry ginger. I just stitched these together and these are gonna go in the fridge overnight and I will bake them off tomorrow and we'll see what's what. All right, I'm gonna score and bake these gingerbread loaves now. And I probably need to write which one's which so I don't accidentally get them switched. So this one was syrup and this one was dried. All right. Maybe I'll flip them upside down just to make sure that doesn't touch the loaves. Okay, here's our syrup guy. I have the oven preheated to 450 degrees Fahrenheit with 2 round Dutch ovens inside. There's the dried. Actually looks pretty good. I think these both look really good. Huh. Okay, and I am testing out this bread lawn that someone on Facebook made with a 3D printer. And they sent me one to try, which I just think is so cool. Like, what, you made that? What do you mean? Okay, I'm just gonna do, ooh, I really like that. Oh, I really like that. You might be onto something, Guy. His name is Guy. Oh, I love, can you please sell these? This design is something special. It sits in the hand so comfortably. Wow. Good job. Okay. All right, now I need to get these in the oven and I'll do it over here so you can see that part. Okay, the black one is going with the syrup and the white one is going with the dried. I have to say this out loud or I will not recall. Okay. I'm not gonna add any ice cubes. It's optional. It can help get like more blistering on the outside of your loaf if you want it. but you don't really need it. The moisture from your dough is enough to create lots of steam in a Dutch oven. Okay, going back in the oven. All right. So I'm gonna set a timer for 30 minutes. Hey Siri, set a timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, counting down.
And then I'll come back and check the internal temperature, take the lid off. As long as we're on track, I will keep the lid off and keep baking it for about 10 more minutes or until it's golden brown and 205 to 210 on the inside. Sometimes with sweeter loaves like this, they take a lot longer to bake. And so when I take the lid off at the 30-minute mark, if we're like 160 or something and like not even close to 205, I'll cover it again and let it go 5 more minutes and then check again. Okay, be back soon. Timer's up. All right, let's see what these look like. Hoping for the best. Okay. Ready? Are you ready? Oh, they look good. They look real good. Oh man. Okay, I gotta get these back in the oven. Oh, and I need to check the temperature. I'm not, oh, gosh, I'm a mess. Not very organized right now. Okay, those both look awesome. Let me grab a thermometer. I don't know where my favorite one is, but this will do. This one's pretty good, it's a budget one. Okay, we're at 190. 196. Okay, so I'm gonna give them about 5 more minutes to come up to temp and just to brown a little bit more on the outside, and then they will need to cool, and I really wanna see what the inside looks like. Maybe they're both winners. Hey Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, counting down.
Yeah. Okay, 5 minutes are up. Let's see how these look. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, these look so good. Just check the temperature. 207. What's this one? 209. We're good. Okay. I need a cooling rack. Oh, whatever. I usually just use my nails. Okay, so this was the syrup loaf. This is the dried ginger loaf. They don't look that different, but I guess we'll find out when we slice into them. Oh no. Yeah. I'm having issues lately with the bottoms of my loaves burning, especially sweet loaves. So next time I make these, I'll definitely adjust a few things. It's another good thing to find out during recipe testing is all breads react a little bit differently. So you might, like, if you know that this loaf is susceptible to a burnt bottom, you're just gonna make adjustments before you even put them in the oven, like slipping foil underneath this or putting a sheet tray beneath the Dutch ovens. A lot of people recommend those ceramic pie weights underneath the parchment or even rice, and that kind of lifts it off and lets it breathe. Another option is when I take the lid off, taking these out of the Dutch oven and putting them directly on the oven rack. I didn't even think about it, but yeah, we'll have to cut that part off. But besides that, I think these look really good. Okay, they're gonna have to cool, so it'll probably be later tonight when I cut into them because, yeah, I have a call in 20 minutes and then I have an appointment that I've got to run to. And then I pick up the kids from school. It's a whole thing, TMI. All right, we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, let's cut into these. My kiddo is home, but he's reading a book in the other room to an audio thing that I recorded. So if you hear me talking in the background, that's what that is. Okay, let's start with, this is the dried Yes, dried ginger. Let's cut it open and see what's happening. Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh, I so wish you could smell. I always say that, but I think that looks good. It's squishy, soft. Yeah, okay. Let's take a look at our ginger syrup loaf. Pretty much looks the same, right? Feels the same, just as squishy. Yeah. Well, I gotta like do a smell comparison now. I think there might be the same. I thought I was catching differences and then I thought, maybe not actually. Okay, let's taste test. Oh, we got a little shaping error right there. Oopsie. Okay, ginger syrup. So good. Oh my gosh, that flavor. I didn't think I was gonna personally like this loaf very much because I'm not a huge fan of sweet loaves. I love savory loaves. But holy cow, this is good. Hey, baby.
Wait, is it?
Yeah, you can eat it. And here's the dry ginger. There's basically no difference in flavor. I can't detect any difference between the dry ginger and the ginger syrup. And literally everything about this loaf is exactly what I was trying to accomplish. Zero complaints. So this to me is a go. I just have to figure out the burnt bottom situation. But I posted a little story on my Instagram and got so many recommendations that I definitely have like 10 things that I could try, so I'm not worried about it. So I'm gonna draft up the recipe card and get this sent to the recipe testers list. If you're new around here, my thing is like recipe testing a little beyond what might be necessary. I personally do all of these recipe tests until I land on a recipe that I think is awesome. Then I send that recipe to a list of over 3,000 sourdough bakers from around the world. And they then test that recipe and give me feedback. And sometimes it's feedback on the recipe itself, like how the bread turned out. And then we have to go back to square one sometimes and start recipe testing all over again. But other times it's just like, I really needed a photo on this step because I wasn't sure what it was supposed to look like, or the way that you worded this particular step was confusing to me. So I really tried to test these so much that when you go to my website and you click on a recipe, there's the highest possible chance that you will succeed. Anyway, by the time this video goes up on YouTube, the recipe probably will still not be on my blog yet because of that recipe testing process that takes a couple of weeks. But it will be coming soon. I just wanted to kind of shine a light on what I'm doing when I'm doing all this recipe testing. I like behind the scenes type stuff, maybe you will too. If there's anything else you're curious about, just let me know. But as far as this goes, dry ginger all the way because it's easier and you don't have to do that extra step, which we love. Okay, happy baking. Guys, I completely forgot about that cinnamon honey butter to use as a topping to these breads. I'm definitely gonna make that, but I am done for today. I can't do it anymore. It's so simple. Literally just butter, a little bit of honey and cinnamon. You can just do it to taste. But I just wanted to mention that because that is gonna be a part of this loaf. I feel like you need that. You need that like cinnamon honey butter flavor on top of the bread. It completes it. So that's coming too, but anyway, sorry. Okay, now happy baking.